All right, everyone, we got defender Erik Sviatchenko here. Erik, just to kick it off, how's the preseason training going so far? Did you guys build up for this trip to Mexico next week?
It's been amazing being back again after a couple of weeks off with so many highs from last season with success. But the group is just yeah, it's great to say, but we seem like we're so hungry. And day two, we were playing kind of a scrimmage, and it looked amazing for a preseason. So we have expectation to ourselves, and we cannot wait to get back to kind of our fitness of performing in a 90 minutes game, and that's going to come within the next coming weeks.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Hey Eric,
Hi.
so coming into the league last year, now coming into your first full season in MLS, how did you kind of adapt to the league, and what are you taking into coming into your 2024?
Yeah, I'm looking forward for kind of a full season. I was close to finishing up a full season with all the games that I ended up playing with the Leagues Cup too, and the Open Cup. But I'm really excited. I think the league is strong. A lot of great players, a lot of great teams, and especially being on a team now that has kind of kept their core, kept the key players, and added some value too. Then I think we have some good times ahead of us. It of course demands a lot of work from us, and seriousness in the sense of knowing that now we cannot just be the team that no one speaks about, because that's going to be different this season. People knows who the Dynamo is, and that's something of a role we need to change a little bit coming into this season.
All right, Alex, go ahead.
Great. Erik, can you hear me, sir?
I can.
Great. Thank you. Welcome back. How are you?
I am good, thank you.
Good. A couple of quick questions, if I don't mind, and I don't want to hold anybody up. Talk to us about Ben Olsen and kind of maybe a change from last year to this year in the direction. You mentioned the Dynamo will not be surprising any teams in the MLS this season. That takes adjustments, doesn't it?
It does, especially with our season last year, that maybe surprised us all in the sense of how quickly it all kind of went to be very well-oiled machine in that sense of both offensively but also defensively. So I mean that it's always that kind of change in mentality that we go on the pitch, knowing that we might be sometimes some kind of a favorite now, because we also come with an Open Cup trophy as a top four team, and that hasn't been the case for many years in Houston. So I think it's an amazing place to be at. That's where you want to be as a football player, up there where it really matters. And just touch base on Ben. He's really got this group together. Everyone works immensely towards the same kind of goal of wanting to be the best versions of themselves, and Ben and his team is contributed really well.
Erik, hablas español, and where I'm going with that is, how do you communicate? This has become a multilingual team, and most footballers have to deal with that. Do you pick up languages from everybody?
It's more and more kind of frequent that you have these squads that have multicultural backgrounds with different languages. My former team, we had 7 Brazilian guys that were speaking Portuguese. So for me, it's not a personal issue. We communicate with kind of body language with the guys that cannot speak English at all. I was today actually running around, and I was in a group where I was like looking, and I wouldn't even able to speak with the boys, but we just respect each other so much, and we know each other so well now, even though that it's a Google Translate you need to use sometimes. But I think football is so universal, and the language within football is very easy to understand if you have a goal, and that's what we have had and what we still have now.
Thank you, Erik. We appreciate it, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, Maggie, go ahead.
Hi, just 2 quick questions, Erik. First and foremost, holidays, your first time in the US, did you go back or did you spend them here?
I went back to Denmark for my off season, and it was great being home and seeing friends and family for those kind of 5 weeks we were off, and we just stayed in our hometown and enjoyed kind of the festives there. But it's great being back. I consider Houston already after 10, 11 months as my home, and the city grows on me and my family. So I'm happy to be back.
I think the city's happy that you're back too. Second question. I know you mentioned it, the fit and the core. Ben has said multiple times that that's just so important is the fit of the team. You have a new assistant coach, Juan. How has that been going in his first 2 weeks of preseason with you guys?
Juan is someone that I over the course of the last 2 weeks has been closer and closer to, and I think he has come in with exactly what we need. We were sorry that Brendan need to go to a new adventure, a good opportunity for him, but Juan has come in and just taken over where Brendan left, in the sense of the communicative style and very kind of direct in the sense of how he wants us to perform also, and also knowing that he came from a period of success in Phoenix, winning there. It means a lot for the players to have a character like that besides Ben.
Did you know anything about him beforehand? You pay attention to the USL at all?
I didn't know anything. I knew that something were happening, and there were some names like swirling around, but it's the first time that I meet Juan, and I'm very pleased so far.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Herman, go ahead.
Hey, Erik, welcome back.
Thank you.
Just want to ask you, now we start the season, Teenage has left, and now you're basically the backbone of the back line, the more experienced. Do you feel responsible for leadership in the back line, or because you were kind of forced into it last year with the injuries and the shuffling around back there, but now we start the year with you and Mikael having experience played together. But do you feel like you have to maintain the leadership back there, or how does that work? Just touching to Alex's question, the communication back there in the back line, how does that work?
No, it's very, very natural for me to take that kind of role. I've been a captain for almost 10 years in Denmark, and everywhere I've been, that's been my role to take more responsibility than others. I'm one of the most experienced guys there is in the squad, and of course it's a natural way of me also playing, that I am the guy who's in charge of the things and trying to help people around. So it's going to be the same as it was the last 30 games, where we've built up an amazing relationships, me and Mikael. I think he is an incredible player besides me. We have Dan and we have Ethan, who can also play those positions. So we have a really good kind of four players that help each other. And Mikael and I are the guys who are playing. But I think that's my key role, and that's what they also brought me in for, to be that leader that we needed to have in the back of the defense.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Joey, go ahead.
Hey, Erik, you've played most of your career out in Europe. How is the adaptation to the MLS schedule, where you're doing preseason in January instead of normally you've been halfway through your season by now?
It's been quite easy, actually, the adaptation. I think I was surprised of especially those kind of traveling around in the States. I thought it would take kind of a more toll on my mental and physical health, but I haven't experienced anything of that. I think it's been very smooth in the sense of how it's organized. And furthermore, I think with the preseason being now where the season starts in Denmark, we also always have a preseason in January that's kind of the same amount of time as we have here. So I can correspond a little bit to actually having the same, just not that we're halfway through the season. We only begin the season now in the MLS, but it's not a big difference.
Thanks so much, Erik.
Thank you.
All right, anything else for Erik before we wrap up? All right, cool. We'll call it there. Thanks, everyone. Keep it rolling after. All right, everyone, we got Ethan Bartlow here. Ethan, just to kick it off, how's preseason training gone for you guys so far, and as you build up for this trip to Mexico next week?
Preseason's been great so far. I think Like this year, we're kind of just trying to keep going what we had going. And so far the level's been really high, and I think we're all excited to get to Mexico.
Great. Any questions for Ethan? Dustin, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan, just as a young player, obviously you're continuing to grow. What are some things you kind of are working on this off season? And also, has Steve been nicer to you this off season?
Been working a lot on just getting fitter, stronger, faster in the off season. With such a short off season, it was a little tricky to kind of find the balance between like getting that rest after a long year and then also building up. But I think a lot of guys came in really fit and focused, and I think we're ready to go. Personally, for me, I feel fitter this year than I did last year, so excited about that. And yes, Steve's being a little nicer this year.
All right, anything else for Ethan?
Sorry, I just forgot to raise my hand. It's
Oh, you're
Maggie.
good. Go ahead, Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you feeling heading into this season? You know, you got an extension last season, on the tail end of last season. How are you feeling heading into this one?
I feel
Oh, wait.
good. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, I feel good. I'm excited. I feel like I have something to prove, in terms of the extension and just in terms of the way the year ended for me last year. Wasn't playing as much as I wanted, and I think I have a lot to prove this year, in terms of proving that I can play at this level and play at a high level in this league.
Yeah. And then my second question is, new assistant coach Juan, you know, how has his presence been on the training?
He's been great. He came in and he almost didn't miss a beat from where Brendan was last year. I think Brendan was a really high level, and Juan's brought a similar, little bit different ideas, but definitely a similar level to where Brendan was.
How important to you is fit? I know that Ben and Pat are very much on board, not necessarily bringing in really any players. They're really focused on the fit and what makes sense for the club, just being the atmosphere in the locker room. You know, what do you think about that?
I think it's huge. I think we have such a close-knit group. And if they were to bring in someone that kind of messed that up, it would be difficult. But I think so far they've done a great job of bringing guys in that really mesh well with the group. And I think the group overall is pretty welcoming to new guys. So I think it's been good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, Rudy, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan. Hey, yeah, you kind of mentioned a little bit. Obviously, last year you played quite a lot. Eventually, Erik got there and kind of took over that role. But how has he helped you, with his experience get better, even though you're, obviously behind him, but knowing that this year, like last year, there's a lot of tournaments and competitions that are going to take place.
Yeah, I mean, Erik came in and he did well. He plays at a really high level. And he's kind of helped show me where maybe I'm a little deficient. I think we're very different players, in terms of playing the center back position. But I think like definitely a lot that I can work on to get to his level in some areas. So it's been really good to kind of see that and reflect on it in terms of what my game needs.
All right, Joey, go ahead.
Hey, Ethan, with Teenage Debe leaving this offseason, no one really brought in yet to replace him. How do you see the competition for that center back position going right now?
I think right now, it's been really good. Obviously, it hurts to lose T. He's a great guy in the locker room and obviously a great player. But I believe like the guys we have can do that job just as well. And I see myself competing for the starting job. And so I'm going to keep pushing for that, whatever playing time I can get.
Thank you so much, Ethan.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, anything else for Ethan before we wrap up? All right, cool. We'll leave it